Welcome to Emma Details. Hey, every scar has a story, every betrayal leaves a mark, and every secret eventually comes to light. From heartbreaking family conflicts to shocking relationship betrayals, these emotional stories will take you through pain, resilience, and the moments when karma finally comes knocking. Don't forget to subscribe. Your next unforgettable tale starts now. I'm 38 now. I tell people my story slow, because if I rush it, it sounds like something off a soap opera. It wasn't dramatic when it was happening. It was just Tuesday, then Wednesday, then 100 more days that looked the same, until one day they didn't. My name's Matthew. Grew up in Atlanta, the kind of house where my mama worked 2 jobs and my daddy worked 1 and complained about it the whole time. I never wanted that. I wanted something quieter, a house, a wife, kids who knew where their next meal was coming from. Simple stuff. I used to think simple was the goal. Took me a long time to learn simple doesn't mean easy. I met Tiana at a cookout in college, of all places. She had this laugh that made you feel like you'd said something smarter than you actually did. She talked about wanting kids someday, said she wanted to do it different from how she grew up, said her mama never had time for her and she wasn't going to be like that. I believed her. Still believe she meant it. Honestly, at the time, people can mean something and still not be built for it. I didn't know that yet. We dated 4 years before I proposed. I wasn't perfect either. I'll say that now, though I wouldn't have said it back then. I worked too much. I thought providing was the same thing as being present, and those aren't the same thing. Not even close. Tiana used to tell me that. You're here, but you're not here, Matthew. I'd nod and go back to whatever spreadsheet I was buried in. I figured we had time to fix the small stuff later. The twins came on a Thursday in March. Jordan first, then Jalen 2 minutes after, like he didn't want his brother getting a head start on anything. I remember the room smelled like hand sanitizer and something metallic, and there was a monitor beeping steady in the corner that I couldn't stop hearing even after they turned the volume down. I held Jordan first. He was so light it scared me. Like holding a bag of sugar that might wake up and need something from you forever. Tiana cried holding them. Real tears, not for show. She said, they're beautiful, real quiet, like she was telling herself something she needed to believe. I remember thinking, we did this. We actually did this. I thought that was the moment everything got solid between us. I think back on it now and I still don't believe that moment was fake. I think it was real and it just wasn't enough. Some people can feel something true in a hospital room and still not have what it takes to live inside that feeling every day after. The first year, I told myself it was normal. Sleepless nights do something to people. I'd come home from work, heat up whatever was in the fridge, do bath time, do bedtime, and Tiana would already be in her robe on the couch scrolling her phone like she'd done a full shift too. Maybe she had. I don't know what her days looked like when I wasn't there. I didn't ask enough. That's on me. But it kept going past the point where exhaustion explains it. She started staying out later with her girls. I'd text, you good? And get one word back. Fine. Just that. No kiss emoji. No nothing. Just fine, like I was a coworker she barely tolerated. One night I asked her straight up, is something wrong? She didn't even look up from the TV. You're so dramatic. I'm asking a question. And I answered it. She finally looked at me. Why do you need me to perform happy for you? Matthew, I'm tired. I'm not asking you to perform. I'm asking what's going on. Nothing's going on. She said it sharp, final, like she was closing a door I hadn't seen coming. I let it go. That's a habit of mine. I let things go quiet instead of pushing, because pushing felt like starting a fight I didn't have the energy to finish. Looking back, I think that was a mistake. Not because pushing would have fixed it, but because letting it go quiet meant I never really knew how bad it had gotten until it was already over. The night she left, it was raining, not a movie rain, just regular Atlanta rain, the kind that makes the gutters sound like static. The twins were 3, sitting on the rug with their wooden trains, making engine sounds, completely unaware. I noticed the suitcase before I noticed her face. Black, the one we bought for our honeymoon. Sitting by the door like it had been there a while, waiting for her to be ready. Where are you going? She didn't flinch. I'm leaving. I actually laughed, a short, confused laugh, because it didn't compute yet. Leaving where? It's 9 o'clock. Leaving, Matthew. This, the house, all of it. Okay. I remember my hand was shaking a little and I didn't know why, since I didn't fully understand yet what I was shaking about. Okay. Can we sit down and talk about this? There's nothing to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. You've got 2 kids sitting right there. Don't. She cut me off. Don't use them like that. I'm not using them. They are right there, Tiana. She looked at them for a second. Just a second. Long enough that I thought maybe she'd come back to herself. Then she looked at me instead. Motherhood was never my dream. I had them because it felt like what I was supposed to do at that age. I don't know how to keep doing this. I didn't say anything for a second. Jalen looked up at the sound of her voice, then back down at his train, the way kids do when grown folks are using a tone they don't have words for yet. So what? You're just done? Just like that? It's not just like that. I've been done for a while. You just weren't paying attention. That one landed. I'm not going to pretend it didn't. So talk to me now, I said. Tell me what you need. We'll figure it out. I need my own life. She picked up the suitcase. You can raise them, since you care so much. I wanted to say something cutting back. I had about 4 different sentences loaded up in my head, none of them kind. What came out instead was just Tiana. Just her name, like maybe saying it would remind her of something. It didn't. She walked out into the rain, didn't run, didn't look back at the window like people do in movies. Just got in the car and left. I stood in that doorway a long time. Jordan asked, "Why's Mommy leaving in the rain?" And I had no answer that made sense to a 3-year-old, or to me. I want to be honest. The 2 weeks after that were almost worse than the night itself, because that's when it stopped being a fight and started being logistics. She called and said she'd talked to a lawyer, said she needed the house while things got sorted. I remember standing in the kitchen with the phone against my ear thinking, how did I get here? How does a Thursday in March turn into this? We bought that house together, I said, and I need it more than you do right now. That's not how this works. It's how it's going to work unless you want to make this ugly. I didn't fight that the way I should have. Maybe. I was tired, and tired makes a man pick which battles are worth the cost. Her mother, Denise, called me once during that stretch, told me I needed to stop making Tiana feel guilty for wanting something for herself. Her brother Andre said something close to the same thing, like I was the one who'd packed a bag in the rain. Nobody in her family asked about the twins. Not once. I noticed that. I still notice it. The day I actually moved out, I came home and my clothes were already in boxes by the door. Efficient. She stood there with her arms crossed. Not cruel about it. Just done. The way you're done with a load of laundry. I looked around that kitchen. Jordan's handprint turkey still taped to the fridge from Thanksgiving. A photo of the 4 of us from the twins' 2nd birthday. Frosting on everybody's face. And it hit me that I was looking at a museum of a life that had already ended a while before that day. I just hadn't gotten the memo. Chicago wasn't a plan, really. Just a job offer that got me and the boys somewhere new, away from a city that suddenly had her fingerprints on every street corner. Small 2-bedroom apartment. I remember the radiator clanked at night like somebody knocking, and for the first few weeks I'd half expect it to be her. Those early mornings were rough in a way that's hard to explain to people who haven't lived it. Get the twins dressed, half of it backward because Jalen refused to wear matching socks for about 6 straight months. Drop them at daycare, work a full day, pick them up, cook something, bath, books, bed, then sit on the couch in the quiet and just exist for a minute before doing it again. I talk to myself sometimes. Not crazy talk, just out loud. Like, all right, Matthew, one more day. Mostly to hear a voice that wasn't a 3-year-old's. She didn't call much. When she did, it was about her new job, new apartment, a guy she was seeing for a while. Never how are the boys sleeping. Never does Jordan still hate vegetables. I stopped waiting on those calls to be about them, because hope like that just costs too much when it keeps coming back empty. My friend Darius would check on me. Good dude. Knew me since high school. Didn't sugarcoat anything. You can't fix her not showing up by showing up twice as hard, he told me once over wings. That math don't work, man. He was right. I just wasn't ready to hear it yet. I didn't get into business to prove anything to her. I want to be clear about that, because it'd be a cleaner story if I said I did. But it's not true. I got into it because I needed something that was mine, something that didn't depend on anybody else showing up. I'd always been decent with numbers and systems, and I noticed small businesses around me drowning in paperwork they couldn't afford a real consultant for. So I started doing it on weekends, after the twins were asleep, laptop balanced on my knees, half a cold cup of coffee on the side table. It was slow, slower than I'm making it sound now. There were months I almost quit. A client who ghosted on an invoice, a software subscription I couldn't really afford, nights where I wondered if I was just playing pretend at being somebody who had his life together. But it kept growing, a little at a time, the way real things usually do. When word got back to Tiana that I had a real client list going, she didn't ask how. Told a mutual friend I was playing entrepreneur, like it was a costume. I won't lie. That one stung a little, not because I needed her approval, but because some old part of me still wanted her to be glad for me, the way you want an old friend to be glad even after the friendship's over. The twins grew up the way kids do when you're not looking, all at once, and also slow enough you catch it happening if you pay attention. Jordan got serious about basketball. Jalen got serious about asking why until you ran out of answers. I made a rule for myself early. Whatever happened between me and their mother stayed between me and their mother. They didn't need to carry that. By the time they were in middle school, the business had grown enough to open a real office in Dallas. We'd relocated again. Better opportunity, better schools. Bought a house that wasn't anything special to look at, but it was ours, paid for with money I understood the source of. Sometimes I'd sit on the back steps after the boys were asleep and just look at the yard and think, this is enough. This is actually enough. Tiana reached out maybe 6 years after that rainy night. Texted, asked if we could meet, said it was important. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Part of me, the part that still remembered the cookout, the laugh, the way she cried holding the twins, wanted to hear what she had to say. We met at a coffee shop in Dallas, neutral ground. She looked good, looked tired in a different way than I remembered, the kind of tired that comes from chasing something you can't quite name. We did the small talk first, weather, traffic, nothing. Then she said, my life hasn't gone the way I thought it would. Okay, I said. Not cold, just waiting. I think about the boys a lot. You can call them. Number hasn't changed. She looked down at her cup. I want to spend more time with them. Try to repair things. Maybe. Repair what, exactly? You know what I mean. I don't, actually. Tell me. She got quiet for a second, and I watched her decide how honest to be. Not honest enough, as it turned out. I want a relationship with my sons. I asked her one thing. Do you understand what they went through when you left? She shifted in her seat. They were 3. They probably don't even remember most of it. And there it was. That was the whole answer, really, even though it was supposed to be a small throwaway line. I sat with it a second. They remember enough, I said. Jordan still asks why you didn't come to his games. He stopped asking out loud, but he still asks. So what? I'm supposed to just, what, beg? Grovel? Nobody said that. Then what do you want from me, Matthew? I don't want anything from you, I said, and I meant it more than I expected to. I'm just telling you what's true. If you want a relationship with them, it's not going to start with a conversation in a coffee shop. It's going to take time, and showing up, and probably some things you don't want to hear from 2 teenage boys who've got their own opinions about all this now. She got a little heated then, said I was holding a grudge, said I was acting like I was better than her. I didn't raise my voice. Wasn't worth it, and honestly, I didn't feel the anger I expected to feel. Mostly I just felt tired, the old, familiar kind. I'm not punishing you, I told her. I just stopped waiting on you a long time ago. That's different. I think about that cookout sometimes, her laugh, the 4 years before the twins, the way she cried holding them in that hospital room. Those things were real. I don't need to pretend they weren't to make sense of what came after. People can be more than one thing. She loved an idea of family more than she loved the actual weight of it. And when the weight got real, She put it down. I don't fully understand why. Maybe her own mother never showed her how to carry it. Maybe she wanted things for herself she never let herself name until it was too late to name them gently. I don't know. I stopped needing to know. What I do know is this. The boys are 16 now. Jordan's got a jump shot that makes grown men nervous. Jalen still asks why about everything, which used to wear me out and now mostly makes me laugh. We've got a house with a yard that needs mowing more than I'd like, and a refrigerator covered in report cards instead of finger paintings now. I didn't build any of that to win something against her. I built it because 2 kids needed somebody to stay, and I decided a long time ago, quietly, without announcing it to anybody, that I was going to be that somebody. That's the whole story, really. Not a comeback, just a man who stayed, one regular Tuesday at a time, until the staying turned into a life. Before you go, tell me in the comments, what would you have done in this situation? And if you love emotional stories filled with shocking twists, betrayal, and satisfying karma, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss a new story from Betrayal. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next tale.